Do you still chase the pump?
The pump is always out there. You always have to chase after it, yes.
Hello and welcome back to the Pump is Full podcast, episode 5. Will and Zach are being adults, so we have Cal back on the show.
What's up?
All right, and so for today, we're going to have a couple news story recaps. We have Jalen Ramsey, Minka Fitzpatrick, and then just the quarterback scenario as a whole as it's shaping out in the NFL. We got a couple game recaps and some games to watch. And a new segment, Games Not to Watch. So let's get it started. What are y'all's thoughts on the Jalen Ramsey situation down there in Jacksonville?
I think that he's still going to play for them. Obviously, you can't be yelling at your head coach just at any level of any sport. You should never do that. But he began following numerous Eagles players on Instagram, and they're considered one of the 3 main teams to be going after him with Kansas City and Seattle. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
I hope to God Kansas City trades for him just because I do not want New England to win the Super Bowl. And I think he can shut down Antonio Brown or at least be a player who does it more than anybody else in the league realistically could.
Right.
Yeah, I think like the same thing. Like he's going to probably, like Doug Marrone already said, he's playing tomorrow night for the game against the Titans. So I think like as long as he's on the team, he's going to play. He's not going to sit out or anything like that. Yeah, like the buzz going around is like the Chiefs, Eagles, and Seahawks. But I've also heard, like I've seen a couple things on Twitter that Detroit is like clearing cap space, and there's like rumors that they could go after him. I think if he got up there, I mean, I don't know if that would make them like a playoff contender. At least I don't think it would. But him and Darius Slate would be a nasty like corner duo.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, that'd actually put them pretty relevant because the Bears have not looked good at all. So.
Well, like, and they won on last week, so I mean, they're not like out of the picture. I just thought that was an interesting team.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that. All right, and then what are your all's thoughts? So I'll go for last on this: the Minka Fitzpatrick trade. What are your all's thoughts on that?
Minka Fitzpatrick is obviously a great player, but I think it's also the Steelers. Like, they must think that Mason Rudolph's the guy, because Big Ben's declining. He's done for this year. Who knows what he's going to look like when he comes back? And that first round pick could have been a quarterback, depending on how they finish this year. It could have been a really good prospect. So, like, I hope Rudolph's the guy for them, but that's just what their cards are showing.
Real quick, just going back to last point, Lions beat the Chargers, which I would say is an impressive win considering the Chargers roster. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the Minka trade's big. I think Minka's a great player, like one of the best young players probably in the NFL. He was super exciting at Alabama. He did everything. And I haven't watched a ton of Dolphins stuff, obviously, because they're the Dolphins. But everyone has super high praise for him. I do agree with Cal though that it seems like kind of a risky trade on the Steelers' part, just because they knew Ben was going to be out before they made the trade. I don't know what James Conner's little timeline or what he looks like now.
He said on his radio show whatever that he expects to play Sunday.
I mean, so he'll be there. So obviously they still feel like they have a playoff contending team, even with Rudolph. And I guess adding Fitzpatrick kind of amplifies that to we can still win the division. But if it does backfire, Rudolph doesn't turn out the guy, that's gonna kind of suck not to have that first round pick, especially with the way this QB class kind of looks like it might turn out to be.
So my thoughts on this, first of all, is the Steelers' past 2 games, they let Russell Wilson and Brady throw, while both of them being amazing quarterbacks, throw 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's just unacceptable from your pass defense. They really needed DB help. They're not good at drafting DBs. I don't think they've drafted a real relevant DB in the first few rounds since Troy Polamalu all the way back in 2003, 4 or 5, I can't remember off the top of my head. But going off that, Minka's a great player. Picked an ugly jersey number. Don't know why I picked 39.
Bad number.
Yeah, Hudson. That's Hudson's take. But I would say they have a lot of confidence in Rudolph, which I'm okay with. They think Ben's going to come back next year. They said he's projected to. He should be fine. It's not a career-ending surgery. And I don't know. I was pretty happy with the trade. I wish we could have kept our first, but at least in terms of a first-round pick, he was literally the 11th overall pick last year. So it's just like they.
I mean, it's basically getting a first-round pick.
They
like
doubled
again.
it. And while this doesn't
It's
mean
like a
that
first-round
much-
pick with NFL experience.
Exactly. And while this doesn't mean that much, they also got the Dolphins' 4th-round pick. They're which is practically going to be a 3rd-round pick. So it's going to be the first overall 4th-round pick. And I think the way it works with the like supplemental draft is they'll get a 3rd-round pick out of Le'Veon because like their free agent, like their loss of free agents isn't as good as their pickup. So they'll have an extra like pick somewhere in there.
Okay.
So I think if this was a 2nd-round pick, everyone would have been praising it. I would say so. I think the main thing is just the 1st-round pick, which I understand. Deep QB class, they're kind of iffy, but if Rudolph shows up to play, then it'll be exciting for me as a Steelers fan. All right, and then now on to the entire QB scenario as a whole. Eli, Ben, Darnold, Breeze, and I'm sure there's a quarterback I didn't list off just there that won't be playing next week. Which one do you think is the most impactful to the team?
Definitely Drew Brees.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, to the team, definitely Drew Brees. I think for a legacy standpoint, Eli Manning. But if we're talking like for this season, it's definitely Drew Brees. Just going forward, because like Teddy didn't look great on Sunday. I mean, granted, he didn't know he was going to play. He was just kind of thrown in there. But at best, he's like a glorified game manager. I don't see him like winning you any games.
And when I keep referring to this, when Teddy Bridgewater started his 2 seasons in Minnesota, he threw 14 touchdowns both seasons. And it was like 12 and 9 interceptions. Wow. Not like on paper, you're like, oh, look, he's got a good QBR, a good TD to interception ratio, but you're not winning games like that. You're just managing them.
I think Drew Brees definitely hurts the team from their expectation that they had coming in because they were a lot of people's favorites to go all the way this year. But from like a how bad can it really get, I'd have to go with the Jets quarterback situation, losing Darnold to mono, and then Simeon just destroying his, I think, ankle.
Yeah, it was his
The
ankle.
craziest thing
They're
is
down
he
to Luke
walked off
Falk.
of that injury. He walked off like after the injury.
The craziest thing is he threw for 3 yards in like 2.5 quarters. Like their their offense just looks so fucking
Bruh.
bad.
Jamal Adams unfollowed the Jets on social
Oh,
media
yeah.
on Instagram yesterday.
Hopefully we trade our 1st round next year or for 2 years for Jamal Adams. But yeah, I think that's gonna be rough for them. Saints, I think they're done with the NFC South now. Like they can maybe get a wild card spot, but there's no way they win it because the Falcons looked really good.
Yeah, I think obviously I'm biased. I think the Saints are probably out of the question of winning the division because if you look at the next, I don't have it right in front of me. Like if you look at the next like list of games they have coming up, it gets pretty tough. Like the 6 games he's supposed to be out.
Their schedule is brutal. That's
Like I know they play.
at best 2-4 over that stretch.
Like I think this week it's Seattle, and then next week is Dallas, and then they have their first division game against Tampa, which even Tampa.
Tampa can
Tampa
surprise
could-
you and light it up and throw the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, and then who else? Eli Manning. So I think that's an end of an era. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see him as a backup, or maybe like even a starter for like some lower level team, just randomly like out of the blue.
I feel like his pride's too big to go somewhere and just be a backup. But like I could see the lower level thing, but honestly, like, I mean, I know he still feels like he has like some ball left in him, he can play, but like he doesn't have anything to prove. He's like 38, going on 39, 2 Super Bowls, made millions upon millions of dollars, and I feel like he has to know he's not still playing at a high level. But that's just me. I don't
He's
know.
everything John Elway could want, though. Don't tell me you couldn't see him being on the Broncos next year starting.
Him and
games.
Flacco.
What a quarterback battle that would be.
That would be. Dude, camp would be insane.
Drew
I'd go out
Lock.
to Denver for that.
Yeah.
The pump is full. Take you a trip to Denver just to watch that. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. This was rumored probably like 2 years ago, maybe 3, about a possibility. I think right when Coughlin went back to the Jags to take like his front office position or whatever, there was a rumor about him, Eli getting traded to the Jags and kind of taking over that team and kind of like doing almost like the same thing like Peyton did, like putting him on a team with a super good defense and seeing like how far they can go to like in the playoffs and stuff. I don't know if that's still a possibility. I mean, it would kind of make sense considering like Foles is out for a while. I mean, what's his name? Dude from Washington State.
Gardner
Minshew.
He's looked decent, but I mean, I guess I could see a scenario of maybe Eli possibly getting sent down there, but I don't think so.
I'm in on Gardner. I like him. I like his swag.
I like his swag.
I think he's a pretty capable player. And then moving on, I guess, kind of from Eli, unless you have any closing thoughts on that, Cal. Ben Roethlisberger, I think, so as a Steelers fan, I hate seeing him that he's injured. I'm really scared for our season. The only shining light is they drafted Mason Rudolph. I think, I'm pretty confident in saying they drafted Mason Rudolph to eventually be Ben's, successor. So I guess it's time to see if, he's really good enough to do that. I think it's honestly, while I'm not going to say it's exactly it's kind of the scenario of that Dak Prescott was in, where he was supposed to, not play immediately. Tony was supposed to, kind of play his years out, and then Dak would take over. And then an unfortunate season-ending injury came in, and they're like, all right, you gotta lead the team now.
Right.
I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Dak was. I'm just saying it's, that same scenario.
See, going forward with Ben, he'll be 38 at the start of next season, which is pretty old.
He did say he wanted to play out his contract. I saw that.
How long's his contract? How much do you have left?
2021. So 2 more years, I think.
Okay. I feel like his injury is like a shoulder thing, right?
It's
elbow.
an elbow injury.
Which isn't I'm assuming the rehab isn't awful for that. But he's already not in the best shape, especially for an NFL. He's in obviously he's an NFL player, he's in shape. But compared to other top-notch players that are hurt, they're already in good shape. I'm sure rehab's not going to be the most easy thing for him going forward. I think Ben will come back just because I feel like he's determined to. But I feel like there is a scenario where this could be kind of the end of Ben Roethlisberger, especially if Mason Rudolph goes out there and just lights it up.
Oh
this
no,
year.
I completely agree with that. There's a chance I hate saying it because he's been the quarterback pretty much all my life. I'm 20 and he's been the quarterback for 17 years. There's a chance that this was Ben's last game as a Steelers starting quarterback.
Right.
Is there still tension between him and Mason Rudolph?
I don't think there's tension currently. I think he said he wants to be on the sidelines when he can and help coach him up. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would hope there isn't any
Yeah.
competitiveness in that aspect. Also, speaking of quarterbacks, we are officially out. I repeat, out on the Colts. No more. Fuck the Colts. They have officially waived Chad Kelly, the swag man. We're pissed.
Heartbreaking.
It's ridiculous.
Heartbreaking to see Swag get cut. But with all the question marks with the Jets, there's no better place for Swag to probably land on his feet than would be New York. Swag holding it down with the Jets. Him and Le'Veon.
Just the marketing opportunities in New York for him would be endless.
I think it's where
he belongs in the Big Apple.
he does.
Real quick.
It's the only city it's big enough for Swag.
Oh, no other place could handle his ego.
Except Oxford, Mississippi. That's it.
And then real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to one of our first shout outs, Brian Carrico, for saying when you have Brian Hoyer, everyone else on the roster becomes expendable. Couldn't agree more, Brian. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go look real quick. So game recap. Chicago versus Denver. Fuck that game. So boring. 2 pretty solid defenses. 2 incompetent quarterbacks. And just a list of mediocre skill players currently, aside from maybe Tariq Cohen.
Nah, I mean, I guess a little. If you look up mediocre in a dictionary, the Bears Broncos game, players, coaching, just franchise, that is what would pop up. That is the most mediocre.
Other than the defensive talent, which is why.
Other than Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, and Chris Harris, it's just mediocrity all around. And Khalil Mack and all the Bears. Yeah, outside of the defense.
The defense, yeah. The offense is just the lines are. I think the Bears have a pretty decent O-line. The Broncos O-line is just trash, and the receivers are just nobody. Run game is pretty average, I would say. They have some players, but this is just not a game you'd ever want to watch.
I have kind of a hot take that if Tariq Cohen was average height, he would not have this long of a stay in the league.
Or do you think it's just because he wouldn't be as shifty? Mm-hmm. That's a fair take.
Darren Sproles 2.0.
Right.
No, that's true. Like that's what his career is made out of, is being small. Yeah, this is just a game like you're like, oh, this on paper you're like, fuck, these are the quarterbacks, and then you watch the game and you're like, fuck, yeah, these are the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's just rough. Any more thoughts on that game, or do we just want to fuck off this game?
The Bears' offense is just, I'd go as far as to say they're bad.
It's insane how bad they were. Like, I think they were I wouldn't say great last year, but like they could move the chains.
Yeah, they would get the job done.
It's just rough. Baltimore, Arizona. I am shocked Lamar is still playing at this high level. It's still the Cardinals, but he can sling it. He definitely worked on his throwing.
He did work on his throwing. I think this Sunday will be huge, even though Kansas City doesn't really have a defense, so he'll probably go out there and put on monster numbers again. But he's played Miami and Arizona the first 2 weeks.
Nobody gets if you put up good stats or big stats against Miami, like no, like that doesn't count. But the Arizona is at least a team that's trying. So
yeah.
I think that it said more about Arizona to keep it within 6 with the Ravens, because I feel like around the league the Ravens are considered a pretty good team.
I would agree with that.
So it kind of just shows that the Cardinals aren't a joke.
Yeah, no.
The craziest stat today I sent to Spencer was like the percentage throughout the first 2 weeks of like no huddle, and I think Arizona was at
54%.
54%, and the second place one was like 18%, which I just thought was insane.
It was ridiculous that it was just like even that close. I don't know why. I guess it's to make it easier on Kyler.
Probably because it's what he's used to in college. It's kind of what Kingsbury's used to for the most part too. Is that like no huddle, just like constant stuff.
Mm-hmm. Indianapolis, Tennessee. Indy won, so that means Brissett can get the job done. And as expected, they're going to go 8-8, 9-7, and be in like just a purgatory of just being slightly not good enough.
Oh.
And it makes you think, if they had luck, they would actually be one of the teams that could take down the Patriots. And we need you back, luck.
And the Titans almost burned down their stadium.
Oh, that was funny. Yes, that was very nice. Any thoughts on this game?
I think the Titans should switch to Tannehill.
I think he's a better Mariota's obviously more athletic, but I think Tannehill is just like a better thrower.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that they have two legitimate starting quarterbacks. I'm actually, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of a little bit shocked the Steelers didn't send like a second or third round pick
for Tannehill.
For Tannehill, yeah.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised that. And I'm surprised.
I just thought of that now.
I'm surprised the Jets haven't made any moves either for the Tannehill, especially him knowing
Adam Gase.
Adam Gase, yeah.
I guess it's because they don't want to compromise their future because they believe in Darnold. I mean, their seasons are now over. Like there's not any shot they had is done because I don't think Darnold's good. He's better than Simeon and Luke Falk. So it's gonna be interesting to see where they go from here.
Sign Chad Kelly.
He could start for every team in the league. We should sign him.
Adam Gase, if you're listening, sign Chad Kelly. Start him.
Yo, Mike Tomlin, Colbert, go grab swag. I think he could help a lot.
Chad Kelly in Miami though could get pretty illegal.
Oh,
no.
That's in his best interest. He should not.
I think we found the city that Chad should probably just stay out of.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Also, Paxton Lynch, Steelers, former first round pick for the Broncos. Steelers have him on his practice squad, so shows you how his career is going.
Swag's old running mate.
They were boys back in the day. Well, I'm gonna send this over to you, Cal. Dallas, Washington. First of all, I'm surprised Washington's as good as they are.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of impressive. Shows that what's his name, Jay Gruden is gonna be able to keep his job for another year.
So I think mainly so far for the Cowboys, Jason Garrett has finally relinquished the play calling to, I think it's Kellen Moore this year, former Boise State quarterback. So I wrote that he finally lets Dak sling it around the yard, which is just fun for everyone. Yeah. And not to overreact, but I think the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl.
I think I said this, I believe, last podcast. Their roster is actually pretty impressive. They have a pretty solid O-line. They got Amari Cooper. I don't know who else they have as receivers. Gallup, but I don't think anyone.
Michael Gallup's hurt, but they have I think Devin Smith from Ohio State.
Is there anybody? Yeah. Is he good?
Yeah, he had 74 yards last
college.
week. Huh?
Yeah. So, did he play? Oh, Ohio State is what you said.
This was his first game.
He played with Cardell Jones. He was number 9. I don't know if you remember him.
I got you. Yeah. So they have Elliott, Amari. So they have a legitimate receiver, running back, quarterback combo because at least for the most part, Dak's been playing pretty well.
Yeah.
And their front seven's just lethal. Oh my God, you got Marcus Lawrence. You got Sean Lee's hurt. Or is he even playing?
He's probably hurt, but Van Der Esch.
Vander Esch,
Jalen
Jalen Smith, and then they have Chidobe Awuzie. I don't remember the other corners. I just remember him because I like his name.
Byron Jones.
Yes. So they have a pretty stacked defense. They have a pretty competent coaching staff now that Garrett's like, all right, Kellen Moore, I'll let you play ball. I think while they're gonna have to fight Philadelphia. I think Seattle's pretty good. I think the Rams. I said I was out on them. They've looked pretty good. So I'd say they're gonna have to compete for it, but they're definitely gonna go on a playoff run.
Like throughout the first 2 weeks, I told Spencer this on Sunday. This might kind of be a hot take, but I think they're the best team in the NFC.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, granted, they haven't played like amazing teams the past 2 weeks, the Giants and the Redskins. Even though the Redskins have looked good, just like the talent that you guys both just talked about, like. Dak's been playing really good. Shout out him. He's won me 2 fantasy weeks in a row. And they just have tons of pieces and just tons of talent. And, like, the division is pretty favorable because you'll play Washington one more time, the Giants one more time. Granted, both those Eagles games will be battles. But, I mean, the Eagles are they're banged up right now. I don't know how serious, like, any of those injuries are. But I think they'll definitely win that division. And, like, as of right now, after 2 weeks, I think they're the most talented team in the NFC.
All right, sling it over to Hudson. Atlanta versus Philly. I was impressed. Also, shout out Calvin Ridley. He is on my fantasy team. You're my boy.
While we did get the win, it was still pretty frustrating to watch. Matt did not look great. 3 interceptions. That last interception he had was super frustrating when he obviously could have just lobbed it up in the back, kind of to Hooper, but decided to throw it right. Like in between the 2 linebackers, which don't really know what he was doing. But they looked better. They looked a lot better than they did against Minnesota. Devontae was they were getting yards on the ground, and the receivers looked good. I'm glad they finally got Julio involved. Hopefully they can keep that kind of momentum going.
That touchdown is why he got paid that money.
That's why he got paid that money. They paid him for that touchdown. Matt Bryant. I'm gonna need you to pick it up a little bit. Me and Spencer were watching the game, and the field goal he missed, it was like really bad to the left. And Spencer goes, "Okay, they're just not gonna address that it got blocked." And they go back to the replay, and it wasn't touched. He just completely shanked it. Which I mean, I guess he was rusty from just chilling all off season. And the defense looked good too. Keanu Neal is a beast. He was all over the field. Him and Ricardo Allen were both dogs the whole game in the secondary. And shout out Trufant, finally having his coming out game after...
Did he have 2 picks?
2 picks after 7 or 8 years on the Falcons. Finally having his coming out game. Hopefully he can keep this going.
It's that 8-year bump.
8-year bump. And then on the Philly side, they looked good. I feel like going forward, like Eagles fans and just like NFL fans in general should kind of worry about Carson Wentz because I see a lot of like the similarities as you saw like kind of Andrew Luck in years before this, just kind of like he'll take a lot of like big hits and have little nagging injuries, and I don't know, I could see something like serious happen. I mean, he's already been seriously injured like twice. I could see something else happening like later on.
He gets hurt like every year. Like I mean, they really, I don't know what he has a good O-line too. I think he's actually just injury prone because he has like a couple top 5 positional players on that offensive line. So I don't know. Maybe they have to develop the offense so he gets rid of the ball more. I don't know.
I don't think anything. I guess we'll see next week. I don't think he had like a serious injury coming out of this game. He had that one hit.
I think it was somewhere in the. He got lit up.
Wind knocked out of him. That one hit. I think it was Keanu Neal off the edge, and I think that kind of just like shook him for the rest of the night. But he still played a hell of a game. He had that big throw where he was being dragged down and got the throw off. So I mean, I think the Eagles are still in contention for either winning the division or a wild card spot.
Yeah, I think the Eagles will finish second to the Cowboys.
That's as a combination of a biased but also realistic take. I can completely see that because as we said, I think Carson Wentz could go down. That's an easy just road for the Cowboys, but Cowboys just are looking pretty good.
I was most worried about the Saints. Like, as a Cowboys fan, I was most worried about the Saints, like, going up against the Saints. But
Well,
like,
now we
Drew
don't
Brees,
have to worry about them.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
Hate to see him go down, but
I love to see them.
Had
Go
to
down.
happen.
See you
officially,
later.
I'm officially out on the Saints because of the
And their
fucking.
fans, the shittiest fan base in the whole NFL.
okay, yeah.
I hate that pass interference rule. Just it annoys the shit out of me.
Would
I
you-
saw it happen in the Steelers game. Dude was barely touched. Pete Carroll threw the flag, and they were like, "Oh,
It
yeah."
was bad. There was the one play that stood out to me the most was in the Minnesota Green Bay game. And it was Dalvin Cook was out like in the slot. And he was going to run a route in the end zone. He was literally just pushing the guy to get off. Cousins threw it to Diggs. They scored, and they ended up like reviewing it and calling it back because they said it was pass interference, which it was
offensive
obvious.
pass interference.
Yeah, on Dalvin Cook.
Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous. And that's a great segue too, because I was going to ask about Green Bay, Minnesota. It turns out Green Bay's defense is like, so far it's been as legit as kind of like, I guess, promised with all that young talent. I mean, Minnesota, if you don't count Kirk Cousins, their offense is, you don't count Kirk in their line, they have a really good group of skill players, and the fact that they only put up 16 points really shows something.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I'm gonna check how many times they threw the ball. I know week 1 they only threw the ball
They threw
10
it
times.
10, yeah. Although they rely on, so it's good that they have Dalvin Cook. I think he's a really good, aspect of that offense. It
Yeah.
really relieves some of the pressure on Kirk, not having him, throw the ball the whole time. But he still can't win big games. I mean, it's just proven. Kirk went 14 for 32. Just pulled it up. 14 for 32, and Dalvin Cook went 20 for 154. So I guess we can see who's really carrying that offense.
Yeah.
He is a bum. Can't win big games. Kirk Cousins, bye-bye.
They don't trust him either.
Yeah, they don't. And obviously they shouldn't. He threw 14 for 32, 2 picks. Like, he's not good.
No.
Yeah, I mean, shout out the Packers like front office just for like all the. I think we talked about this a few episodes ago. Just like how much they invested on like the defensive side throughout the like past 4 or 5 drafts, and it's kind of like coming to fruition now and just showing like how much like draft capital they put into their defense and how legit it could be or how legit it's been the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think Green Bay fans should be really excited. All right, we're going to take a short break for our sponsors. All right, first one I have to give a shout out to my roommate and fraternity president, Andrew Moak. He completely sponsors this podcast. This is a sanctioned Andrew Moak podcast. Do you all have any shout outs or sponsors you'd like to give real quick?
Someone please sign Chad Kelly. That's
Whoever,
it.
or his next sponsor is whoever signs Chad Kelly.
You'll be my second favorite team if you sign Chad Kelly. Unless it's the Saints. Fuck that.
I
Swag in
just,
New Orleans wouldn't be good either.
I just want to shout out my boys back home.
All right, thank you. All right, now for games to watch next week. Let me pull up the list real quick, and we're gonna start with Baltimore, Kansas City. I think this could be a really good chance that this just becomes an absolute shootout, and I think that's what we all deserve this week.
I think it's going to have that vibe, kind of the game we saw last year of Kansas City against the Rams, that Monday night game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a shootout, even though I think the Ravens have like a pretty good defense. So I don't know if they'll completely turn into a shootout like that LA one did. But I mean, you're still playing Pat Mahomes, and
I think it could be like a 30-27 kind of game where there will be points
this
scored.
I think. While the Chiefs don't have like an amazing defense, I do think they have a better defense than the Cardinals and Dolphins. I think it'll be interesting to see just kind of how. I mean, this is how Lamar kind of prepares and is ready for like his first kind of like legitimate test of the season.
Mm-hmm. And Hollywood's been looking really good too. He's perfect. That Lamar's got a cannon for an arm, so he can just like go
throw it.
Go
and
get it,
run under
Hollywood.
Yeah.
He's so fast too.
Yeah. Their offense, I mean, it's good for them for dumping Joe Flacco. He got hurt. Lamar got the start, and I mean they've looked a lot better on offense since that point last year.
I know the over-under right now is only at 53, so if you love money, put the bank on that.
Hammer that
Yeah.
over.
Smash it.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good over, like for betting wise.
Yeah.
Detroit, Philly. I think Detroit has been looking a lot better than I expected, and I think they could legitimately play a good game against Philadelphia. Like this is another game I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll watch it. Or
Yeah.
scratch that. If it comes up on Red Zone, I'd be interested in seeing it.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Detroit, Carry-on's a legitimate
Shout out to him. He's on both my teams.
top tier back in the NFL, and they have some solid skill positions around Matthew Stafford, Marvin Jones,
Galladay.
and who's the tight end they drafted? One of the Iowa
T.J.
ones.
Hawkinson.
I mean, so they have some solid pieces. They have a pretty good offensive line, and then the defense has some pieces too. And they're in a division where they could make some noise, especially with, I think the Packers they're like obviously in the lead right now for that division. But if the Lions, if stuff keeps kind of rolling their way, I could see them in like the wild card hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Matthew Stafford guy, so I fully believe they're going to win this game. Also, I'm just like, this is a little off topic, but I'm curious to see, do y'all think Stafford's a Hall of Famer?
No.
No?
Right
Did
now.
he go to your high school?
No.
Oh, I know he's from
He went to
Texas.
Highland Park in Dallas.
With Clayton Kershaw, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
As of right now, he's not.
No.
I mean, in order to be a like Hall of Famer, like, I don't know, you probably have to like win something. Like,
You gotta win a playoff game first.
yeah,
He's
or at
lost-
least as a quarterback, like Calvin Johnson will could probably
Calvin's
go.
a Hall of Famer.
Oh, he's
yeah.
a Hall of Famer
For sure.
No, he played didn't really win anything, but that's not his fault at all. If you're a quarterback, it's somewhat your fault. If you're Calvin Johnson playing for that shitty Lions team, there's nothing you could have done there. Moving down, Cleveland, Los Angeles Rams. I think so. A reason I highlighted this game, Baker has not looked good. He looked pretty good at the end of that Jets game, but the first two games he just looked rough. I will contribute a little bit of that to his line. His line is trash. He doesn't have time to throw.
It's true.
But I think this is going to be a really good test for him. I think they play in Los Angeles too.
It's in Cleveland.
Oh, it's in Cleveland? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. So then in that case, and that should just help him out more where he's going to be at home. It's going to be a tough game. While I think Los Angeles is going to win, I think it's not unrealistic for the Browns to pull the upset here. They have a lot of pieces, and I think it's going to be a good game to watch between two promising young quarterbacks.
Besides, the Baltimore and the Kansas City games, obviously, the marquee, big game of the week, even though it's a 1 o'clock game. But I'm pretty excited for this Sunday night game. I think it's the first Sunday night football game in Cleveland probably in a while.
And it's 11 years.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a while. So I mean, that place is gonna be loud and super crazy. I mean, it always is, but I mean, especially being a Sunday night.
Sorry for technical difficulties. We were just talking about Los Angeles and the Browns. So, what were you saying, Hudson? It was going to be electric there?
I think it's gonna be super. Yeah, it's gonna be an electric game, super crazy. Yeah. I don't remember what I was saying before.
I'm sorry. I neutralized Hudson's fire over here.
I really hope that this is Baker's kind of just his reminder to the league that he's still here and that he just had a bad first game and a half. Because last year he was so exciting to watch. It brought so much joy to me. As a fellow Lake Travis Cavalier alumni, we have to stick together. So I really have faith that he'll pull it together this week.
Yeah, it's good to hear. I need them to lose because I need all the AFC North teams to lose. All right.
Spence, with Ben going down, does it make your bet a little nervous? Make you a little more nervous about your bet you made?
Next question. Atlanta versus Indy. I think it's gonna be a fun game. Like as we've kind of been stating, I'm pretty sure that Atlanta is gonna win just because I think they're superior team. Because I think Indy's gonna. While I do think Indy can steal a game from them, I think this is a game that's just gonna swing Atlanta's way.
See, I mean, obviously I'm kind of biased, but week 1 we obviously weren't ready. Week 2 we kind of dusted ourselves off. We got the win. Everyone seemed kind of warmed up. I wouldn't be surprised if we come out and we completely just take the top off the Colts. We win by 2 or 3 touchdowns. I could see Matt really hitting his groove, getting Julio, Calvin, Sanu all their touches, and Indy just not having the offensive firepower to kind of run with the Falcons.
I saw the Colts were favored by 1.5 today, which I thought was super strange.
Wait, 1.5?
Yeah, for the spread.
I don't know if I agree with that one over there.
I don't agree with it either.
Some money on that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, it's just another moment if you love money.
Yeah,
go in
really
on that
is.
one.
If you love money, handle that one.
Oh.
All right. Moving on from there. Oh, my uncle just canceled on me. I was gonna go grab a drink with the old uncle. 'cause he's in
No.
town. Yeah. Well, he'll just eat tomato soup.
Does your uncle live here?
No, he is. He lives in Louisville. He drove up for something, but he just texted me that they were off. Sorry, Uncle Joey. Shout out to my Uncle Joe, everyone.
Shout out to Spencer's uncle.
Yo, shout out to him.
Does he listen?
Not a chance in hell.
Oh, okay.
Houston Chargers. I think this is going to be a good game. I think these teams are probably evenly matched right now. Chargers probably have a little bit of more talent on the roster, but when it comes down to it, I think this is like one of the most even games you could honestly ask for in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best game of the like second half Sunday slate. I would say Seattle and the Saints if Drew Brees was there. I think it's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be very back and forth. I could see it going down to the fourth quarter. I don't know who will win though, just because like you said, they're really evenly matched when it comes to the Chargers and the Texans.
I wanna say, I think Texans. I do think the Chargers are better, but I just think like the Texans went all in. I think it's gonna be kind of their year. I don't know.
Yeah, they've got to just block for Deshaun. He gets hit so much.
I think Deshaun's a better quarterback than Phillip Rivers. I want to say that just because I think if this was Phillip Rivers maybe a few years ago when he was a little bit younger, I think Phillip Rivers would be better. But I think right now it's Deshaun Watson's the better quarterback, and I think that might be the edge.
He's got the nuns behind him though.
Fuck.
Ooh.
How many nuns was that? 14, one for each kid.
Too many nuns at an NFL game.
All right. And then for our new segment, real quick, games to not watch.
Yeah.
Don't watch the Tennessee-Jacksonville game. Cal, why don't you tell us why we shouldn't watch that game?
I would just sum it up. Marcus Mariota. It'll be fun to watch Gardner Minshew just run out of the tunnel, maybe have his mustache flowing. Besides that, I can't find anything good in this game.
Unless you have someone in fantasy. Unless you have, like, Derrick Henry. Like,
okay, yeah.
There's no reason to watch this game whatsoever.
I was still wearing Color Rush. I'm actually not that, like, anti this game. Just because it's Thursday Night Football, there's nothing else on. And it's just kind of a tradition seeing the Titans and the Jaguars square up on Thursday Night Football. So I'm not completely out on it, but I'm not completely for it either.
I feel like this would have been a great game to have in London.
This is a London game. You're right. This
Yeah.
is like the marquee London game. This is where you're like, if someone said, "Yo, you want to go watch the Tennessee-Jacksonville game?" You're like, "Oh yeah, cool. I have nothing to do at 9 a.m. on a Sunday."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Another game to just not watch at all.
I think my game that I do not want to watch, I'd have to go with the Panthers and the Cardinals, just because there's just nothing like super intriguing for me. Obviously, like Kyler's on there, but both teams have just not looked like great this whole season. That's during like the 4:00 slate. They're much better games to watch. I think Pittsburgh, San Francisco will be good. Seattle and the Saints, and then the Texans and the Chargers. And the Giants and the Bucs. Oh, shit, that sounds bad too.
Yeah.
Those.
I could think of a lot of things I'd rather
what's
do than
Daniel
watch
Jones'
that
first game? That's pretty lit.
Yeah.
So yeah, my game not to watch: the Panthers and the Cardinals.
All right. What are y'all's thoughts on Jets, New England? Just another New England on the first 3 games are just gonna keep blowing teams out, and the Steelers I think should have played them closer, but they've got Miami and the Darnold-less Jets. Like they're just gonna look so powerful. I hate it so much.
I'm hoping Le'Veon touches the ball 40 times.
Le'Veon's about to retire after this and go just straight into back to Miami, back to just rapping full time after this game.
Yeah, it might be in his best interest because it's gonna be a rough game. Like I feel bad for my guy. Well, no, I don't really feel bad for him because he kind of walked out on the Steelers. But
Caught yourself there.
yeah, I caught myself. Yeah, he's on my fantasy team. I need the touches. Get like if you can get 15 points for me, then just
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
Yeah,
Does anyone know when the Patriots like next legitimate game is?
I'll look it up. I can tell you that.
Well, who would you
if they play anyone in the AFC East? Not for a while.
Who would you consider a legitimate game for them? Like the Chiefs?
Well, week 4 it's the Bills. I don't really consider that. I mean, that'll be.
They've been looking good.
They've been looking good, but play the Redskins week 5? Nope.
Giants, then Jets, then Browns, then Ravens. So maybe Browns.
I guess the Browns. I mean, honestly, I guess that Bills game could be. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's a week away, but they have it. They're gonna kill the Jets.
Then look, so they have a 4-game stretch where they play Eagles, the Boys,
Let's
Texans, and Chiefs. Well, brutal 4-week stretch. Then they got to go to the Bengals, Bills, and
What week does that start in?
week 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
So even if they lose all 4 of those games, they're still being 12-4.
Yeah, like I'm banking on the Browns and Ravens to come up. So unless they lose 6 games in a row, we're looking at another double-digit season easily for them. So
They're gonna win this week too.
yeah, that fucking sucks. And then nobody other than Cal and everybody in Dallas will be watching this Miami-Dallas game because I think it's. Like
I'm excited for that just because Dak can give me some more fantasy points.
It's. I think the line's like negative 23.5 or something. Like, it's. Hey Cliff. It's. What are your thoughts on that, Cal?
I think they can still cover it. Cowboys.
Shout out to Hudson's roommate for forgetting to go to the gym.
I got hungry and I remember I had food here, so I came home.
Tough.
So, yeah.
Someone's got to rescue Xavier Howard. We got to get him out of Miami.
Someone trade for him. Chiefs, you heard us. Go get him.
We need to start like a capital campaign or something to get Xavier Howard
We can do a
out
GoFundMe.
Shit, we might have to start. I just feel bad for him.
He's the only like legitimate player.
And I feel bad for Christian Wilkins too, just because
That's where he got drafted.
he got
Yeah.
drafted, can't really do
Well,
anything.
he's about to get a good team. Theoretically, if they don't fuck up these picks, he's about to get Tua, the guy he kept, the guy who harassed. In the
Jerry
next
Jeudy.
game. Jerry Jeudy. They probably can get Jerry Jeudy too.
Yeah.
Are they going with Fitzpatrick for the game on Sunday, or are they going with Rosen? Do you even know?
Doesn't matter.
I haven't seen any Rosen news.
Well, I kind of want to see Rosen just for the memes.
Oh, speaking of memes, 2 of my favorite memes I saw on Twitter. First one being PFT Compter tweeting out, the Dolphins should just write Ryan instead of Minka on the trade on the trade sheet and let the chips fall where they may. And then
If you guys weren't giving away like a first round pick, getting Ryan Fitzpatrick wouldn't be the worst thing for the Steelers.
yeah, well, shut up. and then my second favorite tweet was, so you guys understand like part of the reason Minka wanted out was because they didn't give him positional clarity. Like they said, he could be playing 6 different positions. So
To be fair, though, that's what he did in college. But like, I mean, you don't want to do that in the pros.
he said it was like because he didn't want to do it week to week. And one of the guys from PFF, I think it's PFF Austin Gale or something like that, tweeted out, and if Minka Fitzpatrick's role couldn't get any more confusing, he just got traded to the Steelers to play quarterback. Big fan of that tweet as well. So any closing remarks from either of y'all? Cal.
Mainly, the only thing on my mind is just hope my fantasy team can perform. I'm gonna need Diggs to come through this week.
Dude, it's amazing how. So my PFF league, I barely even like pay attention to that, and I'm somehow 2-0. In our fraternity league, that I'm like really like, I'm like scouring the waiver wire. I got blown out both games, so
Weird.
shows you how.
Also,
how that goes.
University of Kentucky students vote Eric Sakaguchi for homecoming.
Eric Sakaguchi for homecoming king.
Yes.
All right, and anything else, Hud, or is that it?
There are a couple good college football games this weekend. You have Michigan and Wisconsin at Wisconsin, and then the big one's the Georgia Notre Dame game. So there's 2 things to watch. A lot of NFL prospects
Should be exciting.
during those. Yeah,
I think Texas has the primetime game again. I think Oklahoma State.
Oh, that actually, I'm a OK State Cowboy now since
Yeah.
that's where Rudolph went.
Mm.
So
Like in the recent years, that's been like Oklahoma State has kind of had Texas' number, but like they treat it like a low key rivalry. Like no one will call it that, but I would call it that right now in this room with you guys.
all right.
And
It's been called.
Clemson has a huge game.
Against-
The Charlotte 49ers.
Oh,
Wow.
fuck.
What's the spread for that?
Probably bad. I don't know. Or as the article says, can the 49ers shock the world? No, probably not. That's not
Probably
happening.
All right, so thank you for tuning in again. Sorry for a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm glad we solved it all out. So this has been the Pump is Full podcast, and we'll see you all next week. Shout out to Swag Kelly.